let's talk about OG Booktok. If you don't know what Booktok is, it's something that I think started at the end of 2020, and I think I discovered it in 2021. Literally, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Clearly, I have a library now. So today we'll be reading Booktok books that I have not read yet. Besides Beach Read, I have indeed read that, but I want to reread it, so I'm putting it in the stack. Let's go through the stack and see which ones I have to choose from. Obviously, you know I have Beach Read, which is one of my favorite books of all time, but I haven't read it in so long that I really want to reread it and see if I love it as much as I think I do. I have The Spanish Love Deception, which a lot of people didn't like, but a lot of people liked at the same time. I feel like this one had a lot of mixed reviews. Then we have the start of a series. We have Shadow and Bone, which I only want to read Shadow and Bone so I could read the Six of Crows duology, which I feel like everyone loves. I don't think I've ever heard anything bad about the Six of Crows duology, but in order to read that, I have to read this whole trilogy. So I put Shadow and Bone in here. And then we have Red, White, and Royal Blue. I love the cover. I actually found this at Goodwill one time, and it is in great condition. And then we have my number one pick, which I'm going to let you know I'm probably going to read first, I think. Carval, which I only want to read this because I want to read it. Nope. What was I about to say? I only want to read this because I want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, that whole trilogy. So, yeah, I need to read this in order to read that, allegedly. And then we have a fun dystopian, which I don't know if I've ever really read dystopian, to be honest. I don't really read that a whole lot. We have Shatter Me. It wouldn't be right if I didn't include Colleen Hoover, because at one point, that's literally all Booktok would talk about. So I included this book because I need to read it, really, because I just want to know what it's about. You think I would know by now after all the Booktoks I watch, all the booktubers that I watched? Like, you think I would know? I really don't. These are all the books that I will be choosing from this week, so I can read OG Booktok books and see what I missed out on, because let's be real, we've all moved on. Except me. I haven't moved on because I haven't read them yet. But we're going to start with Carval. I literally have the perfect reading setup right now. It's like dark and cloudy outside. I have a reading vlog on in the background, and I'm about to start Carval, and I am living my best life right now. Good morning, everyone. It is a couple days later. Honestly, I didn't read at all yesterday, and I've been reading throughout the days, but this is the book we have in question. I feel kind of bad for what I'm about to say, but I don't really know if other people feel this way. I find it very hard to read this writing, and I don't really know how to explain it, but it's harder for me to get into. So I have been audiobook and reading it. So from what I've gathered so far, there's two sisters. There's Scarlett and Donatella, and they have a not so great father. But in years prior, Scarlett had been writing letters to the head game person of this game called Carval. It's like this magical game that happens, and basically the winner gets a free wish. Scarlett got invited by the head person that runs the game. So her and Donatella have a ticket, and Scarlett also has a ticket for her fiance. Yeah, we're in the game right now, okay? We're in the game, okay? I'm trying not to spoil the book in case anyone wants to read it, because I find it very, not good when people spoil the entire plot, and then it's like, why would you read it? I'm about to make my coffee, but I just read chapter 20, and what the heck just happened? I thought I was reading a fantasy book, not a vampire book. I'm like, what in the world? From what I just read, I don't really know how you come back from that, but I guess we'll figure it out together. Okay, guys, we look and we don't judge, because I, in fact, am tired. I worked yesterday. But yeah, I finally finished Carval, and I gave it a 3.5 stars. And look, I feel like other people are giving it like 3 and 3.5 and then continuing the series. So I know it's like a normal rating, like 3's in the middle, so it's good. But I feel bad giving books like under 3, under 4, I guess. But it's not a 4-star. Anyway, this book, the ending of this book just kind of made me mad. And I get it, it's a series. I really understand. But I just wanted to know exactly what I wanted to know. I feel like there's so many loose ends. And again, I know it's a series, If I didn't have this book on audiobook, I would not have finished it. I feel like it was to that point where I was like, I'm like following along while I'm listening, and I'm like, I definitely probably wouldn't have finished it. The magic system was interesting, and it was the most confusing book I've ever read in my life, because I was very confused at multiple points in my life, multiple points in my book reading of, yeah, Carvel, good, great, love it. Okay, I started Chattery, by the way. I did in fact forget to put a bookmark in here. I'm literally about to start chapter 3, so we're at the beginning of this book, and so far all I know is there's this girl and her touch like has hurt people. I don't really know what that means. Oh yeah, she's been locked up, by the way. I don't know if I said she's been locked up for 264 days. And she just got a cellmate, and he's a male. I don't know anything else. That's all I got. I have not given you a single update, really. I'm on chapter 40. I have this much left. I am too stunned to speak at this current moment. I'm scared. Okay, I'm actually kind of scared. Yeah. I'm kind of obsessed with this, and I only have one book in the series. So I posted a YouTube shorts and a TikTok not that long ago asking which books I should read, and y'all forced me to read this book. You people didn't tell me I would need the whole series. I don't have the whole series. I'm usually the type of person that buys every book in a series, but this is like a 10 book series, I think. But no one told me that I would need the next one right away when I was done, so that's rude. So I read Shatter Me, and I didn't really give you any updates. I was way too invested in this book. I kind of finished it basically in 24 hours. Yes, I gave it 4 stars, which I know you're probably like, you just said you finished the whole book. Why didn't you give it 5 stars? But look, I just have a feeling like the rest of the series is going to be better. And like, I haven't gotten all my answers to every question that I have of what's going on. But this has been the most fast-paced, entertaining book that I've read in a little bit. And I love that there's action. I love that there's romance. I love that there is like this almost found family sense that I'm sensing right now. And I am so upset that I have none of the other books. Can I just say, from her being locked up, her touch is fatal. She, like, if anyone touches her, she kills them by accident. Like, it's just her touch that's fatal. And then the boy she was locked up with, and then everything that happened when she was out. If you haven't read it, I think you should really read this. I'm just saying. I think we're gonna try Punk 57 because this was very popular, and I kind of just want to switch gears a little bit. So I'm gonna read this. Also, can we talk about how it's a signed copy? And I know I didn't show this in the beginning, but I don't feel like starting Shadow Bone. I don't feel like reading It Ends With Us. Beach Read I've already read before, so I'm just kind of putting that on hold, and I don't feel like reading the other ones. So. Good morning, everyone. I want to give y'all a thought on Punk 57 because I'm on page 63. 63. And I am on chapter 4. Why are these chapters so freaking long, okay? Like, nothing's been bad. Like, I'm entertained, for sure. But why are the chapters so freaking long? And I haven't read a Penelope Douglas book in a while, so I don't remember if all the chapters are always this long, and I just don't remember. But, like, holy... I'm like, okay. Is this chapter ever gonna end? Okay, so I have a lot to do. So I put the audiobook for Legendary on, and I feel like it's okay for this video because the whole trilogy of Caraval, Legendary, and Finale, I think, that whole thing was trending so much on TikTok. So back in the day, back in the OG days, so I feel like it's okay, and it's a really good narrator, so I'm gonna keep listening to the audiobook right now while I do everything that I need to do around my house. This book mainly is following the other sister. The first book mainly follows Scarlet and her time doing Caraval the game, And then this one so far is mainly following the other sister. Her name's Donatella. There is going to be another Caraval game, interestingly enough, which usually they don't happen this close together from what I follow. But Donatella made a deal with a friend, we don't know who the friend is, about something to do with seeing her mother again, which their mother hasn't been around for a very long time. So I'm curious to see how that happens and works out, or pans out, shall I say. But after I eat, I'm gonna go read Punk 57. But so far, Legendary's pretty good. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of liking Legendary more than Caraval so far. Maybe because I already know the characters and I know the basic premise of what happens generally in the game, so. I just read page 207. What did I just read? Hello everyone. I realized that I never gave you the overview of Punk 57. There's this boy Misha and this girl Ryan, and they get paired in the 5th grade as pen pals to write each other letters because they're at different schools. And then they continue doing it for several years. I think it's 7 years that they keep doing it. And then one day, Misha, his band, is doing this scavenger hunt thing, and he ends up meeting Ryan by accident, and she has no idea that she's met him. And then something tragic happens that night, and then 3 months later, she hasn't heard from him at all. She hasn't received a letter. He hasn't written her in several months, and she's like, what the heck? Like, why is he not writing me, kind of thing? And then this new boy starts at her school, and stuff goes from there. I'm not going to tell you the rest, but I will say I just read chapter 22, and literally I was not expecting the plot twist. It literally came out of left field, and I was not expecting that in the slightest. I was so confused about the watch. I was like, why? Like, how did the kid end up with his watch, kind of thing? But I wasn't expecting anything to come from that. So that was a very interesting plot twist. I will say the plot of this book is pretty good, but if you know what Penelope Douglas is kind of known for, yeah, it's a Penelope Douglas book is all I'm gonna say. If you know, you know, okay? And this is Legendary. This is the audiobook that I'm listening to, in case you didn't know. I am loving it, which I've already said, but I really like Donatella's character, and I don't really know why. I guess because she's a little bit like sassy and a little bit bratty and kind of almost go with the flow, but don't mess with me. And I really love the main male character. Can I say his name? I can't say his name, but I really like the male main character in this book, because when I'm reading, like an Emily Henry book is different when I'm reading about like a good guy, but if I'm reading a fantasy-esque book, I don't want to read about a good guy. I don't want to read about the golden retriever guy. I want to read about the bad guy, like the toxic bad person. Like I like reading about the toxic men in fantasy books and other books. I don't know. I like reading about toxic people in my books. Don't know why, because in my real life I would not stand for that. I just wouldn't. Like, my husband is so far away from a toxic man. He's literally the best, but in my books, I want to read about a toxic, overbearing, protective man who doesn't know how to communicate. What does that say about me? I don't know, but that's what I like to read about. So I'm really enjoying Donatella and the other person's relationship because I find it toxic. Yeah, I just like to read about toxic people, I guess, which makes me feel like I should maybe read Magnolia Parks, because I've heard that it is very toxic. But I'm gonna go finish Punk 57 because I'm literally so close to being done. I have this much left. I don't know why I didn't finish the book earlier and then update you, but I just finished Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas, and I ended up settling on 3.75 because it was close to being a 4-star, but it's just Compared to like other things that I have as 4 stars, this wasn't. It's kind of a dark-ish romance. I wouldn't say it's really dark, but I read some dark books. It's not super dark, but just know it's kind of like a bully romance, I would say, in a little bit of a way. And then it's friends to enemies to lovers. So that was an interesting kind of concept to read. But that is my last Penelope Douglas book that I own. So we'll see if I end up, you know, picking up more in the future. I think I'm gonna finish Legendary, and we'll see if we can fit another book in this video, but it's kind of already getting kind of long. So most likely it could possibly be the last book that we read. I was just mopping the floor, and did he just say brother? In case you don't know, we're trying to figure out who Legendary is. Is that him? This girl is stressing me out. What is she doing? What is she doing? Why is she doing that? She wants to be the hero. I don't care. You just learned something. And you're just gonna... The end of the book was so good. I really enjoyed the ending. And I was looking at the back of the book because I was like, was that like, sometimes when I'm reading the audiobook or listening to the audiobook, I'm like, I have to go make sure that that was like the end of the book. I don't know. But I looked and she annotated the last chapter and the epilogue, which I thought was so cool, and I've never seen that done in a book before. But it's so funny. Like, she wrote like something about like she didn't have this as the ending of the whole time. She had something else about the card and something else happening, and I was like, how fun that she just annotated the end of the book. Like, I thought that was so cute. But yeah, so the end of the book was so good. I love him. I know that he's kind of a jerk. I get it. I get that he's kind of a jerk, but at the same time, I feel like he has all of the good intentions in the world. So I'm gonna hope that he does anyway. So Legendary is so much better than Carval. I'm gonna give it a 4.25 stars. I don't feel like it's 4.5, because 4.5 to 5 stars are like my bread and butter books. Like, I love them. Definitely want to read Finale now. But I don't know if I am yet. But oh my gosh, I cannot believe the end of the book. I would say we had a great time reading OG Booktok books. I mean, I gave this one a 3.5 stars. This one 4, which I'm gonna need to find the rest of the series and buy it because I need to know what happens. Then we read Punk 57 and I gave it a 3.75 stars. And then we read Legendary, which was the highest rating, and I gave it a 4.25 stars. So it was a very, very good time reading this week. And it just goes to show that Booktok knows what's up. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, and I know that I have a lot more OG Booktok books to read, but at least we made a small little dent in my massive collection of books. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time.